So students, we are going to discuss about the various factors which influences the distribution of population. Okay. Okay, and this is the topic from chapter number 2, the world population distribution, density and growth, from the book Human Geography. So as we studied earlier in our previous class, that the human population is not equally distributed. There are certain areas in the world where the population is very high, and there are many areas in the world where the population is very less. Okay, around 90% area is there. Okay, where the population is less than 10%, and 10% area is there where the population is very high actually. Okay, and even I have said you about the 10 most populous country in the world. Okay, which constitute 60% of the world's population actually. So we just came to know that different countries in the world, they have different size of population. Okay, and even within the country, the population it varies. Okay, like within the country, the population varies from one particular region to another. Like in case of India, India is having the second largest population in the world. Okay, but within our country, if we see the data of population distribution within our country, okay, you will be surprised to know that there are certain states where the population is very less, around 6 lakh, 6.5 lakh, and there are certain states where the population is around 190. Okay, around 190 crore, not crore actually. Okay, about 190 million. Okay, so this you can see that the factors. Okay, there are different factors actually. Okay, which influences the distribution of population. Okay, so this distribution of population exists just because of various factors. Okay, and these factors can be grouped into three categories. Okay, into three categories, that is the geographical factors, economic factors and the cultural factors. Okay, these are the three important factors of population distribution. So now we are going to discuss about the geographical factors. Okay, the geographical factors basically include the physical features of the earth, the physical factors such as the landforms, the climate, distribution of water, etc. Okay, these are the different geographical factors because of which there is a unequal distribution of population in the world actually. So first we are going to discuss about the geographical factors today, and then we will be discussing about the economic factors and the social and the cultural factors. So as discussed, that the geographical factors basically include the physical factors such as the availability of water, the types of the landform, the climatic condition, and the type of the soil. Okay, these are the four main types of geographical factors. Okay, availability of water, landforms, climate, and soil. So you will see that the population of the world, okay, is unevenly distributed because of this geographical factors. Okay, there are certain areas where there is enough availability of water, so people prefer to live in those areas. And the areas where there is a fertile soil available, people prefer to live in those areas. Whereas the areas where the climatic condition is better, people prefer to live in those areas. Okay, so you will not find that people living in the areas where the water is not available, where the soil is not fertile, or where the climatic condition is very harsh actually. So in those kind of harsh climatic condition, areas of less availability of water, areas of infertile soil, in those areas, we can find very less number of people actually. Okay, see, availability of water. Availability of water is the most important geographical factor. Okay, because water is mainly required for the living actually. Okay, without water, human beings cannot live actually. Okay, so water is the most important factor for life. So people, they prefer to live in areas where fresh water is easily available actually. Okay, so the people, they prefer to live in those areas where the fresh water is easily available. Okay, because the water is essential for drinking, for bathing, for cooking, and also for the cattle, for the crops, for the industries, and also for navigation purpose. Okay, so we need water for various purposes actually, and this is why we people try to live in those areas where there is enough availability of water. Okay, and this is the reason that it is because of this that the river valleys are among the most densely populated areas of the world. Okay, and it is because of this that the river valleys, okay, the river valley regions are most densely populated areas of the world. Okay, because in the river valleys the people have settled in the earlier time because of the availability of water. Okay, because water is easily available in those areas which they used for carrying out the agricultural practice and all. Okay, like the Ganga river basin, it is highly populated, okay, in our country. In the same way, almost all the river basins of our country as well as river basins of the other countries are also highly populated just because of the availability of water. Okay, so here we can brief out that water is the main geographical factor which is responsible for uneven distribution of population. The next, after water, availability of water, the types of the landform play a very crucial role in population distribution. Okay, because in the world, different types of landforms exist, such as the plateaus, the plains, the islands, the deserts, the coastal plains, etc. Okay, so in some areas, the people find it more suitable to settle actually, like in the plain areas and all. Okay, but whereas in the high mountainous areas and all, it is quite difficult to form the human settlements. Okay, and this is the reason that in the higher altitudinal areas or in the mountainous regions and all, okay, human population is very less as compared to the plain areas and the plateau regions and all. Okay, so people prefer living on flat plains and the gentle slopes. Okay, so people, they prefer to live on the flat plains and the gentle slopes. Okay, means the areas where the land is very flat in nature, it is a plain in structure. Okay, and it which may have a gentle slope actually. So in those areas you will find that most of the concentration of population, and this is why the northern plains of India is highly populated, it is densely populated. Why? Because the area is a plain area which has helped in the development of transport and communication, which has helped in the development of agricultural system of our country, which has helped in the development of industries and all. Okay, so this is because such areas are favorable for the production of crops and to build roads and industries actually. Okay, so why the plain areas is mostly populated, or why the plain areas is highly populated? Because such kind of plain areas are favorable for the production of crops actually, for the growing of different types of crops, as well as the plain, in the plain areas we can easily construct the roads and all. Okay, so if more roads will be constructed properly, what will happen? The transportation system will be more developed. So when the transportation system will be more developed, industrialization can happen. Okay, industrialization will be developed. Human will find it more convenient to travel from one place to another. So people will obviously settle in those areas, isn't it? On the other hand, the mountainous and the hilly areas, they hinder the development of transport network and hence initially do not favor agricultural and industrial development. Okay. Whereas on the other hand, the mountainous areas and the hilly areas and all, in those areas, such development of better transportation network and industrialization cannot take space because of the rugged nature, actually, rugged topography. Okay. And even agricultural system is also not so highly developed. Okay. And this is the reason that the mountain areas and the hilly areas of the world are not so much populated like the plain areas. Okay. So these hilly areas or the mountainous regions, they tend to be less populated. Okay. Whereas if we take into consideration our country, India, here we can find that the northern plains, okay, is highly populated. And then in the peninsular plateau of our country, we can find a moderate population, okay, concentration of moderate uh, number of people. Whereas in the Himalayan region, the population is very much scarcely located actually. Okay, like in Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, and all. These are the states actually which comes under the Himalayan region, and the hilly areas are there. So in these areas, the population is very less as compared to Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, Assam, and all. Okay. So the Ganga plains are the most densely populated areas of the world, while the mountain zones in the Himalayas are scarcely populated. Okay, and this is like in case of India also, like it is true. Okay, like we can see that the Himalayan regions is less populated, whereas the Ganga plains is highly populated. Actually. Okay, so the landforms plays a very vital role in determining the distribution of population in the world. Actually, okay. So apart from availability of water and landforms, the climatic factor. Okay, climate also plays a very important role in the population distribution. Okay, so climate is the third major geographical factor which influences the population distribution. Now, do you know that how this climate it affects the people, or how do this climate it affects the population distribution actually? Okay, see, the climatic factor has a direct role in the population distribution. You will, if I ask you to settle in those areas where the temperature is very high or the temperature is very cold, so obviously you will not be ready to settle in those areas where the temperature is very high or very cold actually. But if I give you the option to settle in those areas where there is a moderate type of climate, okay, you will easily settle in those areas. Okay, so this is the condition actually. Okay, this is the case that most of the people in the world, they are concentrated in those areas where they have a moderate climatic conditions. Okay, whereas the areas of harsh climatic conditions, such as the areas of heavy rainfall or the areas of high temperature or the areas of very less temperature, are the areas where the population is very less actually. Okay, an extreme climate such as very hot or cold deserts are uncomfortable for human habitation. Okay, an extreme climate such as very hot or cold areas, they are uncomfortable for the human habitation. Okay, so in these areas actually, that like concentration of population is also very less. Whereas areas with a comfortable climate where there is not much seasonal variation attract more number of people. Okay, whereas those areas where there are comfortable climatic condition exist, okay, and there is not so much seasonal variations, okay, in those areas we can find more number of people actually. Okay. Even the areas with very heavy rainfall or extreme and harsh climate, they have low population. Okay, the Mediterranean region are inhabited from early periods in history due to their pleasant climate. Okay, and on the other hand, the Mediterranean region of the world, okay, they are highly inhabited actually, okay, because of the pleasant climatic condition. And even in India also, okay, because of the subtropical climatic conditions, okay, and the you can say because of the availability of the monsoon rainfall, India is highly populated. Okay, so these are the three main geographical factors, that is the availability of water, the landforms, and the climate. Okay, but now the fourth most important geographical factor, okay, that is the last but not the least actually, is the soil. The types of the soil, or you can say the fertility of the soil, also matters a lot in the population distribution. So as we all know that in the earlier period of human history, the human beings were mainly dependent on agricultural practice. There was no industries, there was no tertiary activity. Okay, so the people, they were dependent on agriculture for earning their livelihood. Okay, so as the people in the earlier period of human history, they were totally dependent on agriculture to earn their livelihood. So they preferred to settle in those areas where there is a availability of fertile soil. Okay, and where do we find this fertile soil actually? Near the river banks. Okay, near the river bank, the soil is very fertile as well as there is enough availability of water. So this is the reason that these areas, the river banks, the river valleys are highly populated actually. Okay, so fertile soils are important for agricultural and allied activities, and therefore areas which are fertile loamy soil have more people living on them, as this can support intensive agriculture. Okay, so throughout the world you will notice that wherever there is the availability of fertile loamy soil is there, the population is higher in those areas. Like if we take into consideration the Asian continent of Asia, in Asia, okay, wherever there is an availability of fertile alluvial soil or fertile loamy soil is there, the people concentration of more people is there in those regions. Okay, like in India also, the northern plain is highly populated. Okay, why? Because of the fertile nature of the soil actually. Okay, so this is what about the different geographical factors actually. That is the availability of water, okay, the types of the landform, the climatic conditions, and the types of the soil, which directly plays a very important role in the distribution of the population of the world. Okay, as well as these factors has also influenced a lot in uneven distribution of population within our country, India. So this is what about the geographical factors which influences the population distribution. So I hope you all have understood about these factors, about the geographical factors.